Hi you guys, welcome back to Love Multiplies. I don't think you understand how lucky you are right now because you get to hear from Beth. So Beth is blessing us so much to talk to you guys. She is the founder of Sarah's Laughter, this amazing, amazing organization. If you haven't heard about it, I will leave all the information in the description below. But so many times we go through infertility and we feel like we are alone and there's nobody around. And I know Philip and I felt that way for so many years, and it doesn't have to be that way, and it shouldn't be that way.
No, it really shouldn't.
No. And so Beth is here to give us some tips and tricks on how to allow you to go through this, but you don't have to do it alone.
You don't have to do it alone, and that's really good news.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things is support groups, and I get just passionate about support groups.
They're amazing at it. I can't even describe it.
We have support groups for all different aspects of the infertility journey, for women that are going through it, for men who are going through it. But I really believe in what happens inside a support group.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we're determined to do, if somebody wants to start a support group, we will jump right in there with you and do it. If you're walking through infertility by yourself, take a chance and let somebody know what you're walking through. Because one thing that we find is once you start talking, you're going to find somebody else who's walking through it too. You're going to find that familiar look in somebody's eyes, that of recognition. I get what you're going through because I've been there. And when you find that sisterhood of those that walk through infertility together, when you can have that camaraderie with another woman who gets it, it's an amazing thing, and it's very much a burden lightened.
And so many people feel like, oh, well, maybe some people are outgoing and they want to go to a support group because that's their personality, that's what they want. Well, maybe Beth can share a little bit about her story, because maybe that was not where you started out.
It absolutely was not.
No.
I didn't talk about my infertility, which kind of makes me laugh a little bit right now, because now I pretty much talk about it all the time to everybody, even some people who really don't want to hear it. But when we went through it, we didn't tell people. We didn't tell my parents. I mean, we told our family, but outside of my parents and my sisters, we didn't tell people. And we walked through it absolutely alone, which made the hard days harder, because those days when I wondered if I was losing my mind, if I was really losing my sanity, those days when, even though I had been a Christian since I was a young child, I began to wonder, what have I done how have I angered God so harshly that he's withholding this from me?
Right.
And I didn't have anybody that I could bounce it off of, because my emotions were so all over the place, not only because I couldn't have a baby, but because I was on so many medicines, and the medicines were making me crazy. I needed somebody who would understand me, to come alongside me. You know, Alex, what really makes sense to me, when Jesus himself came to earth, even he didn't do life alone.
Yeah.
Even he pulled a circle of people around him to do life with him. If he didn't do it alone, what makes me think I can?
And so shouldn't we be following a perfect example?
Absolutely.
So I know so many of you out there might already be sharing your story, but there are so many of you that maybe haven't shared your story at all with anybody yet. We have heard stories of people that have walked through infertility for years, a decade, and haven't even told their family. So how do you even get enough courage, or how do they know that it's going to be safe, that it's going to be okay to share?
Okay. First of all, Alex, I think what you need to do is lay down the shame and see this for what it is.
Yeah.
This is not something that you have done. This is not, we talk about unearned guilt a lot in our groups.
Sure.
Because we carry around a guilt for not being able to give our spouse a child, or the unearned guilt of not being able to carry that child to term.
Right.
You didn't earn that guilt.
Right.
Because there's no guilt there. Lay down the shame, lay down the guilt, and see this for what it is. This is a medical condition, but this is also something that God is going to work through. You know, we see infertility all through scriptures, Old Testament and New Testament, from the front to the back, even in the lineage of Christ. And so if God has all these things in his word, that tells me he's going to use it. This is not something for you to be ashamed of. It is what it is. Don't take infertility on as your identity. You are not infertility. This is something that you're walking through. So see it for what it is, and don't let the shame of infertility envelop you. You're going to have to work on that mindset. If you're so scared to, as we say, come out of the infertility closet.
Right, exactly. That's exactly what it is.
You're going to have to lay down that shame and that fear and not let the enemy of your soul control you because of something that God wants you to work through.
I love that. I love that.
I think that's a biggest part of the battle because just like I said a minute ago, in that perfect example in Jesus Christ, God didn't intend for us to walk through community alone, so what does Satan do but convince you that you need isolation? So don't give him that. Don't let him do that to you. Lay down that shame. See it for what it is. This is a vehicle. I cannot tell you how many people have said infertility is what brought me closer to Jesus. So Satan is trying to isolate you and convince you that you are unworthy to be a mama, that God is punishing you, and you are sitting in isolation and your mind is just consumed with the lies of the enemy. So that's one major reason that I think you need to break out of that infertility closet. So see it for what it is, lay down that shame, and take a chance. And it is going to be one of the scariest things you will ever do in your whole life. There's not a roller coaster in any amusement park anywhere that will make your stomach flip, like looking at somebody and saying, look, can I talk to you? And just share your story. And just take that chance and tell what you're walking through. If you need to start with your family, and sometimes that's an easy thing to do, and sometimes that's a harder thing to do. If you can't quite take that step and burst out publicly, you can blog about it anonymously and kind of talk that way. There's different ways that you can do that, but even sharing with a Bible study group at your church, finding those friends who love you and you know it. Allow those people that chance to love you and support you. If you can't find an infertility support group, where everybody there is doing that same thing, take that chance with those friends who love you. Give them that opportunity to pour into you and to pray for you. There's people that will pray for you, and you can be as specific as you want to be. Or as general as you want to be. And there's some safety in that too, and that gives you a little bit of control over your story. But give them that opportunity to love you and serve you that way. Don't take that blessing from them.
I love that. It's true, like that you should not be carrying that shame and being able to share it. And I hope this encourages you today that it might be scary, you might not be ready, but to think about it, to think about starting to open up and seeing that there's beauty that comes in that. So I just want to thank Beth so much. Again, if you guys haven't heard of Sarah's Laughter, again, we'll leave it in the description below because that is such an amazing resource where you don't have to do it alone.
No, you really don't.
Okay. Thank you, Beth, for being with us. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys in our next video. Go let your love multiply. Bye, guys.